The leader of the U.S. Senate has made waves over comments about Israel, its prime minister, and hopes for peace. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer today called on Israelis to demand early elections and to vote for change, saying if they want peace, including a two-state solution with the Palestinians, one man is standing in the way: Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The fourth major obstacle to peace is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has all too frequently bowed to the demands of extremists like Ministers Smotrich and Ben-Gvir and the settlers in the West Bank. If Prime Minister Netanyahu's current coalition remains in power after the war begins to wind down and continues to pursue dangerous and inflammatory policies that test existing U.S. standards for assistance, then the United States will have no choice but to play a more active role in shaping Israeli policy by using our leverage to change the present course.
I want to bring in our Washington correspondent, Benjamin Alvarez-Gruber. He's been following this story for us today. You know, Benjamin, the U.S. president, he has been rather open in his criticism of the Israeli prime minister. But now we've got the leader of the U.S. Senate joining in. Do we know why, and do we know why now?
It is a sign of the growing frustration here in Washington, looking at how the government of Benjamin Netanyahu has been handling the war in Gaza. It's not just significant because he's also close to U.S. President Biden, but also because Chuck Schumer is the highest-ranking Jewish official in the U.S., and he says quite clearly, and that's also what we heard there, that if there is no change in course, the U.S. will also need to align the arms supplies that it's currently sending to Israel and should have put them conditional. So it should put conditions on Israel to keep sending weapons as it does with every other ally worldwide.
Another very powerful U.S. senator had a very different message today about this. Why don't you take a listen?
It is grotesque and hypocritical for Americans who hyperventilate about foreign interference in our own democracy to call for the removal of a democratically elected leader of Israel. This is unprecedented. We should not treat fellow democracies this way at all.
So McConnell's saying right there very clearly this is grotesque. Has there been comment or reaction from the Biden White House?
There have been reactions. On one side, the State Department stressing that these are the comments of Chuck Schumer. He does not speak for the Biden administration. And there was also a question that was asked to National Security spokesperson John Kirby, and he said that Chuck Schumer gave information, told the White House that he would issue these comments, but did not ask for approval or disapproval. So they were informed beforehand, before he said that. But the White House is also stressing what the State Department is saying, that these are his remarks and he's not speaking for the Biden administration.
Let's look at the optics of this today. Schumer saying that Prime Minister Netanyahu's government no longer fits the needs of Israel. I mean, this is unprecedented criticism being made by a U.S. lawmaker of a foreign government. Two countries that are allegedly allies. How do you explain what we're seeing and hearing?
And not just any lawmaker, he is a staunch supporter of Israel, and over the past weeks and months he has also been pushing to get more security assistance for Israel. There is, as we're getting closer to the presidential election, of course this is also a big topic, especially with Democrats, even stronger than Republicans. There are disagreeing, they are not in favor of the way that Benjamin Netanyahu is also dealing with the war. There was a recent poll also in January saying that 86% of Democrats are against the way that Netanyahu is handling it. So we can be sure that there is a comment both that goes into the direction of Israel, but also looking at the political discourse here, looking also how many people have even voted and committed before voting for President Biden in the previous primaries that we saw here in the U.S., showing the criticism and asking the U.S. president to have a red line. That's what Chuck Schumer said too, that it needs to be allied to the conditions, because that's the big question. And that's what many are criticizing Joe Biden for, saying that he talks a lot and he criticized, but there are no actions following this, was to have real red lines when he looks and when he talks to Israeli officials. themselves.
Yeah, I mean, if Netanyahu were to cross this red line set by Biden, do we know what Biden would do in concrete terms?
What some officials are saying is that the U.S. might indeed, if Israel proceeds with this ground invasion in Rafah, is something that Prime Minister Netanyahu has repeatedly said, that they might indeed be these conditions to the arms exports. And just a clear sign to show how difficult the situations are right now is just as we look at the airdrops. For many, it's humiliating that the U.S. cannot get one of its closest allies, as the U.S. always talks about Israel, to get these trucks with aid to go into Gaza. It needs to airdrop them together with other countries to get food to Gaza, and also now with the U.S. forces who are going there to help with this pier, with this bridge, to actually get food in there. So the big question is, will there definitely be some consequences for the U.S., and will some actions also follow the words of Joe Biden?
Our Washington correspondent, Benjamin Alvarez Gruber, on the story for us tonight. Benjamin, thank you.